everyone, I'm liiiiiittle, and welcome to the final episode of Life is Strange Diary Entries. Today, we are going to be covering the entries from the final episode of Life is Strange, Episode 5, Polarized. Now, like Episode 4, this episode does have a bonus diary entry, but we're not going to read it at the start. Instead, I'm going to throw it somewhere in here. If you simply just don't want to be taken by surprise by it, I would go into the description below where I will have a timestamp for your use that will indicate where it is. I simply don't want to spoil it with a timestamp on screen for those that do like that kind of stuff and would be interested in replicating the vibe that coming across this entry in normal play would give. But with all that being said, I'm going to shut up and just get into the journal entries now. October 11th, I guess. I watched Chloe die again. Killed by my favorite teacher. Why? Because we were stupid and let Jefferson trick us with a phony text. So we ended up back at the junkyard and fell right into his trap. We should have called the police the second we found Rachel, but I had gone along too far with Chloe. I keep thinking I'm invincible, that I'm a real everyday superhero. But no, I'm just Max Caulfield. Maybe all my powers are an accident of fate. Or am I being punished like Chloe? What have we done to deserve all this pain? What did Rachel do? Kate? William? Then there's Mark Jefferson. I can't ever call him Mr. again. I'm still shocked that he turned out to be the one hiding behind the dark room, but if I think back on those pieces of time, Jefferson has been dropping hints all along. It makes me sick to think how long he's been doing this for, and to whom. The needle. I can still feel that needle on my skin. Thank God I can't remember Jefferson posing me for most of his sixth session. Imagine all those other people who had to suffer through that horror, like Rachel and Kate. That made me determined to get out of that room, at least to stop him and save Chloe. I had to use my focus rewind on multiple photos so often that even I got confused. Worse still, I knew I was screwing around with various realities again, but I had no other choice. Chloe would not die in a junkyard next to Rachel Amber, and there was no fucking way I was going to let Jefferson be the last person I ever saw. It's hard to imagine even myself in that studio alone with Jefferson acting like that. Everything was so neat and sterile, but it felt like the filthiest place on earth. If I didn't have this ability to bend time, what would I have done? What could I have done? Sometimes I felt removed, like I was looking at myself going through this hell. But thanks to Jefferson's class photo, he personally helped me to escape. I also feel so terrible that Victoria had to end up in here with me, just because I warned her about Nathan. I should have known that she would rush to Jefferson for protection. Instead, he kidnapped her and almost murdered her. Because of me. I'll never forget the way Jefferson looked at me, so cold and mean. I felt like I was on one of those awful true crime shows my mom binge watches. How does somebody become evil? He actually shot Chloe in the head. Just like that. Motherfucker. I wish the police had taken Nathan in after I told Principal Wells that he drugged Kate. He might still be alive, and maybe he would have taken down Jefferson, too. I still can't believe I was able to focus and rewind into my selfie all the way back to art class on Monday. I turned in my photo for the contest after I sent a text to David warning him about Jefferson. Whew. The only reason I haven't had a total meltdown is the fact that I do have this incredible power. I have to use it right for once. And maybe never again. It was weird to be in class with Jefferson. Like I wasn't just tortured by him in an underground bunker. I saw him for the first time as he is. A creepy, manipulative psychopath filled with bullshit. He uses art and passion to seduce people, but behind that there's nothing but hate and perversion. I only pray that I can fix this timeline, not fuck it up. Max to the future. It feels like I finally made things right. Chloe is alive, David Madsen became a real everyday hero by busting Jefferson in his darkroom, along with Nathan and his father. The Prescotts have lost control of Arcadia Bay. Now I'm the official everyday hero on my way to San Francisco with Principal Wells, who's a lot more funny and laid back when he's not stressing about Blackwell Academy. It's hard for me to totally relax, but all those pieces of time seem to be falling into place. The Zeitgeist Gallery was a trip. Why does somebody so shy like me want to be famous for her photographs? I don't care about people kissing my ass, I just want to hang out with great artists and learn from them. It was so sweet that my work was displayed in a respected gallery, and I got to experience that public response. But I'm not a fan of the spotlight. That Berkeley reporter made me feel like I wouldn't even know what to say. Oh yes, this selfie represents my soul. I'd tear up my own pictures if I ever talked like that. But it was so nice just to have a safe, peaceful moment for myself, where my dreams came true instead of my nightmares. I had a real vision of my future and who I wanted to be, so I won't feel bad about rewinding time once again to destroy my contest photo. The storm is still coming to Arcadia Bay, which means Chloe's life is still in danger. No prize or exhibition is worth losing her again. At least I can use my picture for a truly important reason, and yet again, try to fix the machineries of time that I keep breaking. So I did it. Back in my room again, erasing another timeline. Or does that reality go on without me? Am I just creating knots in time? My biggest fear is that I won't be able to rewind when I most need to, or even remember what I've done. And my head does feel like it's going to burst if I keep on doing this. My nosebleeds are a bad omen. Yet I'm here. I can rip up my contest photo and still warn David about Jefferson. It just means I won't be going to San Francisco. Yet. And I have to protect Chloe from one storm. I knew things were going too easy, and I messed it all up, as usual. Jefferson was pissed that I had torn up my contest photo, freaking out about my wasted talent. The bastard torched my diary, so I couldn't even rewind using my art class selfie. So my whole plan took a shit, and I couldn't text David about Jefferson, which is how I ended up back in this evil darkroom after I thought I had escaped. The worst thing was seeing that Victoria was gone, and knowing that Jefferson had already killed her. All because of me. I've never felt so helpless and hopeless in my life. It made me even more determined to rewind time and save Victoria as well. Amazingly, it was David Madsen who turned up to save me. Thanks to his own surveillance, he was almost Jefferson's shadow and tracked him down to the farmhouse. I was able to use my rewind for good and actually help David battle Jefferson. I do know that the only way I can save Chloe now is to get that picture that Warren took of us in the parking lot. I just hope he's okay in the storm. Finally, I didn't tell David about Chloe. I couldn't. He might have killed Jefferson. For the first time since my visions, I was able to see the storm manifest in this reality. When I felt the sharp wind from the tornado, everything became more desperate. I was so relieved to get a hold of Warren, but he's definitely trapped in the Two Whales diner with the photo. Yes, this looks like a job for Supermax. I borrowed Jefferson's car to haul ass and found that Nathan left me a sad voicemail. He only wanted to warn me, to not be blamed for Rachel. But Jefferson wouldn't forgive him. Apocalypse Arcadia Bay. I've never felt the raw force of nature, but this storm is ground zero. My town is being destroyed, and I'm so furious that I didn't pay more attention to my visions. I could have warned and saved so many people instead of watching them die around me. I decided I needed to fulfill my destiny, whatever that was, and use my powers for good, and more importantly, to not be afraid. There was no more time for fear. So I barely made it to town, and helped as much as I could, until I had to rewind to stop a raging fire from blowing up the diner. At least I was able to do something. I almost cried when I saw Joyce and Warren, even though they were scared. But they're strong, and helped everybody in the diner, including Frank, who I was glad to see alive. I'm glad Warren is such a good friend. Considering how insane my life has been this week, kissing Chloe instead of him didn't seem that strange. It felt like Chloe and I were flipping off the cruel universe. And if I was going to die, I wanted one kiss from my best friend. The main thing was that I had Warren's photo, and I would get one last chance to save Chloe. I felt queasy considering what a mess I've made, but there was no going back anymore. Warren rules. I was able to rewind to the end of the world party with his photo, and I felt like I was getting more confident with my time travel skills. It's always hard to deal with Chloe when only I have the benefit of knowing her future, but the one thing Chloe appreciates the most is honesty. So I told her everything, from when she was paralyzed, to the dark room, to San Francisco. She didn't want to believe that David was so heroic, but she knows I wouldn't lie. And I could tell that Chloe felt awful for what Jefferson did to me. Chloe's back! I didn't even care that this was the real end of the world. It just felt so good to hold her again after everything we'd been through. I thought about all the timelines I'd jumped through for her, and how much she's always meant to me. Our lives have always been entwined. How could this not be some kind of fate or destiny? Even though we're opposites in so many ways, we're also so alike. We'll always be pirates in spirit, and we'll always want to take on the world. It sounds so stupid to say that she's my hero, But if not her, who else? Sometimes Chloe and I feel like yin and yang. Who knows? Maybe we're here to give each other strength. Or more.
I could frame any one of you in a dark corner and capture you.
The dough is a lie. Maxine, you keep fucking up. How many times does Chloe have to die in front of you? Maybe it would be better to actually, you know, have a life. Find my cat pics, please. My heart is broken. Take a selfie, ho. Yes, you're running out of choices. Let's all go to the lighthouse. Max, why do you want to kill everybody? What did everybody ever do to you? Bully.
Go fuck yourselfie. Go fuck yourselfie. Go fuck yourselfie. Go fuck yourselfie. Go fuck yourselfie.
So if anybody wants to question the portrait, always take the shot. They can go back. My number one rule of photography.
There's nothing like the sense of relief after waking up from a vivid nightmare. Despite all the terrible things that have been happening this past week, I felt so free and hopeful when I finally woke up. And my nightmare was so obvious. All my fears about being an artist, about my real empire, and of course about my partner in crime and time, Chloe Price. We've been through so much together, and we might go through more depending on how this all ends. Either in heaven or hella. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Damn it, Max. Chloe is more than my best friend, but who knows how she really sees me. She did dare me to kiss her, but she seemed surprised that I actually did. I am too, but I don't regret it for a second. Maybe that's why I hated watching Chloe being so cruel in the nightmares, calling me names and flirting with all those people. I was surprised that it was like a physical pain in my heart. Is that the power of friendship? Or love? I believe you're about to find out, Max Caulfield. And so that ends the diary entries for not only episode 5 Polarized, but the entirety of Life is Strange Season 1. If you guys enjoyed this bonus series, please take the time to let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you want me to continue doing this for future Life is Strange games. Because this did take a lot of time, and basically I want to know if that time would be better spent just focusing on the main series and not bothering with the journal entries, or if you guys would like me to continue doing the journal entries between the episodes. Just please do let me know. If I don't get any feedback, I'm kind of just gonna assume you guys would rather me focus on the main series. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this series. It really does mean a lot that you guys pay attention to my content and watch my content, and I just really appreciate it. And this is the official, definitive, final episode of Life is Strange 1. And I hope that you guys will be excited for Life is Strange Before the Storm. I'm not entirely sure when I'll get around to it, but it should be before the new Life is Strange comes out in September. With all that being said, I'm going to leave this video here and officially close out the Life is Strange series on this channel. Thank you guys so much. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!